host, Keith Andrew, along here with one of the greatest people in the business today. I won't say greatest wrestlers, but one of the greatest promoters. He's none other than Vince Russo. I just want to say thank you for accepting my request.
Hey Keith, why am I show number 41? Why wasn't I show number 1, Keith?
Well, to be honest, you were supposed to be number 229. Unfortunately, the one person said, I really don't want to have my interview on your talk show. You couldn't just tell me that a year and a half ago. And next thing I know, I'm looking at the paper. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 other people coming out of freaking woodwork. Yeah, we agree with her. We don't want to be on your talk show. I'm like,
that's not nice, bro. Who wouldn't want to do your talk show, man?
Yeah, they said that. Oh, we're honored to be on your talk show. We think you're doing just a great thing. A year later, yeah, you're hurting my career. I want nothing to do with you or people like you.
't crazy, bro. Bro, who's been the biggest guest that you've had on the show?
Wrestling-wise or in general?
In general, whoever you think.
I would say there's 2 of them. Richard Epcar and Kerrigan Mayhem.
Tell me who they are. I don't know who they are.
Kerrigan Mayhem does the voice of Goldar from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Oh, okay.
And Vince I almost said you. Well, you're a big star, and thank you for that. And the other one would be Richard Epcar. He does, have you played DC versus Mortal Kombat?
No, I'm not a big gamer.
He's now the new Joker.
Oh, okay, that's cool, man. That's some pretty big names.
But for professional wrestling, and I interviewed Sonny Ono, I interviewed Brodus Clay, Chris Harris, trying to think, Lenny Pablo, a bunch of ECW stars, well, the biggest TNA star was Jeff Jarrett, and that's the one I was telling you about before we got the chance to talk, was Double J. Was supposed to be this, but, PR didn't tell Double J it was a video, and I was like, not gonna argue with you. I'm not taking whatever I can get.
Yeah, well, you got me here, so fire away, my friend.
Now, before we get started, I just want to make an announcement that for people who want to know what uncensored is my way of showing people that even with a learning disability, I can still overcome controversy and reach my goals in life. At the same time, I'm able to turn myself into a perfect example for people out there dealing with any type of learning disabilities or disabilities in general, that you should never give up and you should prove to people you can still mount to something no matter what. It's a half-hour, 45-minute conversation. You can say anything you want. And I don't want this to be like a wink-on-wink wrestling shoot. So I'm going to ask you a lot of easy questions, hard questions. And then I'm going to pass it over to you, and I'll put you in the driver's seat. And you can say whatever you want. This is your time after all. And starting off, who is the real Vince Russo? How did you create that character? And before you created the Vince Russo character, who were you before that?
I'm always who I've been my whole life, bro. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I love my dog. I'm a loner. I like to spend a lot of time alone. I'm a baseball fanatic. Bro, when it all comes down to it, I'm very, very simple.
Who influenced you to get into professional wrestling? I said professional wrestling, not sports and entertainment. That's another subject I'm going to mention a little bit, the difference. But who influenced you? People like Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage.
Well, the first guys I actually saw was, going way, way back, was Jimmy and Johnny Valiant, the Valiant brothers, and Captain Lou Albano. The Grand Wizard of Wrestling, Chief Jay Strongbow. I was a big, big fan of Ernie Ladd's. Those were probably some of my early influences.
All right. I did mention, the difference between professional wrestling and sports entertainment, and if I hesitate, I apologize. If you go back, and you probably know this, you probably made one of those promos when it says the World Wrestling Federation, the worldwide leader in sports entertainment, you kind of think about what does entertainment mean? And now you look at the WWE. Oh, so it was the WWF, but it was also sports entertainment. So that's where the E comes from, apparently. Is that true, or am I just pissing in the wind?
No, World Wrestling Entertainment, you mean?
Yeah, it was WWF, and at the end it says the World Wrestling Federation, the worldwide leader in sports entertainment.
Right,
And then they changed it from WWF to WWE. Is that how they got the whole idea?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, listen, from day one, I mean, it's always been entertainment. You know, I mean, I go all the way back to, probably 1973 when I was 12 years old. I mean, what made me a fan, 32 years ago, 42 years ago, I'm sorry. What made me a fan 42 years ago was the entertainment aspect. You know, I mean, I love the characters. So I think it's always been entertainment. I don't think that changed just because the name officially changed. I think it's always been entertainment.
All right. Well, there's a couple of hard-hitting subjects on what I would like to ask you, and you can throw it back at me too. Like I said, it's uncensored. What the people would like to know, I don't mean to piss you off by this, you can always pass on the subject. But people would like to know, back in 2000 was WCW Bash at the Beach. We heard Hogan's story, we heard your story, but who's telling the truth? Was Hogan supposed to lay down, or was Hulk Hogan supposed to win? And how did that Bash at the Beach thing come about?
I mean, it's a long story, and I've told it so many times, but I'll never change my story. It was all a work. I went over everything with Hogan beforehand. The only person who wasn't in on it was Jeff Jarrett. He didn't know it was a work. But everything that happened was discussed between Hogan and I prior to the match. You know, he can say whatever he wants. I know that's how it went down.
Even when he came out, he called on you won't see that bald piece of shit again.
Well, no, you see that. Well, that was the one thing. I told him I was going to cut a promo on him. I didn't tell him exactly what I was going to say because, like, I didn't have the promo in my head at the time. You know,
right.
I didn't have anything scripted. I was just going to kind of go out there and be in the moment. So, I mean, I didn't tell him exactly what I was going to say because, quite honestly, I didn't know exactly what I was going to say.
Anyway, and it's always better to be in the moment because you cut people off guard too.
Exactly, and it's just more real that way, you know.
That's true. And now the second thing is, I want to clear your name, and I stand by you on this. And you may know where I'm going with this. People say, did Vince Russo kill Owen Hart? And I'm gonna say, even with a warning disability, I know this much. That's absolutely bullshit. You know, it was an accident. However, if you do want to point fingers, they're the people who hooked him up. The people who hooked him up are responsible from getting him from point A to point B. That's it. You know, if it's not Vince McMahon, it's not Vince Russo, it's not the company, or those jackasses that messed up hooking him up. Those are the people that caused it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, bro, I mean, it was just a horrible freak accident. I never really, read the reports of those guys on the other end and what they may have or may have not done right. I mean, I don't know. But, I can assure you, I don't think it was my fault. I don't know, bro. Are you a Kiss fan?
Heard of them? Yeah,
okay.
Occasionally, yes.
Well, every Kiss concert, and I mean, I can't even tell you how many concerts they've had. I mean, you got to figure an average of 300 a year, maybe for the last 30 years. I mean, just unbelievable amount, but. every single concert from day one, Gene Simmons plays a song called God of Thunder.
Right.
And he's on the floor, and through a harness, he's lifted all the way to the top of the arena. I mean, Kiss has done that every single night for, 30 years. I mean, literally, what am I saying, 30 years? They formed in 72. It's been over 40 years now.
And they're still great.
Yeah, and they're still great, and they still do that. So, it was, bro, it was just an unthinkable, horrible accident.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I didn't mean to piss you off or bring up...
You didn't piss me off, bro. You're cool.
Now, the next question I was going to ask you was, when you were with TNA, and one more wrestling, then we can go to another subject. When you were with TNA Pro Wrestling, do you think bringing in Hogan and Bischoff was a good idea, or do you think, at the time it was good, but you kind of need to go in another direction?
Well, that's hard for me to say, quite honestly, bro, because I don't know what they were being paid. You see what I'm saying? Right. So, I mean, it really depends on how much they were being paid for me to be able to sit here and tell you if I thought it was worth it or not. So, like, not having all the details, it's really hard for me to say.
All right. Now, are you, like, good friends with Eric Bischoff and Sonny Ono, or are they just more like acquaintances?
No, they're more than acquaintances. They're not even acquaintances. I mean, I never really got along with Eric that well. I know Sonny Ono hates me for his own reasons. I mean, I have nothing in the world against Sonny Ono, but I mean, they're not friends of mine.
I would love to have Eric Bischoff on the show, and most of the stars, I'm surprised that you didn't even ask me for money. I'm not saying, because most of the people say, oh, I'll only be on your show if you give me $2,000, $3,000.
Well, you're doing, listen, you're doing something very important here for people with learning disabilities. What you're doing is very brave. What you're doing, I applaud you for. What you're doing for, I 1,000%, back up and support.
Thank you.
So here I am, man. I think you're doing a great job.
But what do you think about people asking for money? I say they're missing the point, and it's kind of like, and I said this to Sonny Ono and a couple other people, I'm actually, like you said, I'm doing a good deed, I'm putting myself out there, I'm trying to make myself into a perfect example. Why does it matter if you're being paid? Why does it matter of how many hits you're getting or how many views you're getting? You're helping me get my message out there. You're not saying, okay, I will do it if you pay me.
Bro, it's all about doing the right thing. I don't know if you ever watch my show at all, but if you go to VinceRussoBrand.com, bro, I have a guy, Scott Casey Gale, who has a learning disability, who comes on every week and gives an NXT report. And I love him. I applaud him for what he does. I think it's great what you're doing, bro. I mean, the minute you reached out to me and told me what it is that you do, I was all in. It was just a matter of working out a time and a date. But I think it's great what you're doing, bro. And I think you're right. I think people that are asking you for money or that not coming on your show, I do believe they're missing the point. Because, who wouldn't want to support you in the message you're trying to send out there?
Yeah, absolutely. And you bring up a good point. Yeah, I did listen to a couple of interviews you did, and I would love to be a guest on your talk show if that's a possibility.
Yeah, sure, bro. I'll bring you on sometime.
Now, the next question I was going to ask you, did you do any sports, and when you were in college, were you a study nerd, or a party animal?
Nah, bro, that's a good question. Bro, I've always loved baseball. I mean, ever since I was a little kid, I probably played baseball, up until I was 18. I even played baseball again when I was 30 years old, and that was a big accomplishment for me. Bro, I never, college, I just wanted to get out, bro. I just wanted to get it over with as quickly as I could. I wound up, going to summer school and everything because I was one of those guys that I wanted to get my diploma. I wanted to get out, and I just wanted to get on with my life.
My computer has a habit of freezing.
That's okay, bro.
So we left off where you said you were from, when you were 30, you played basketball again.
Baseball.
Baseball, sorry.
That's okay.
And do you think, if you never got into professional wrestling, do you think you would ever become a professional baseball player?
Oh, bro, I wish. No way. I wasn't good enough, bro. I mean, I loved the game. I played the game for a long time. I was good, but never good enough to make it a living. No.
All right. Now I'm gonna pass the show over to you. Is there any subjects you would like to talk about? Anything that gets you fired up? Anything you're passionate about?
No, well, let's talk about you, bro. How long you been doing this podcast now?
For about 2 years, yeah. Let's see.
2 years?
For about 2 years. Yesterday would made it officially 2 years.
So what do? You do a podcast a week?
If I'm lucky. It's whenever I have someone to talk to, that's when I do an episode.
Yeah. So what do you primarily try to get guests, through Twitter?
Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Stage 32. Is there any websites you would recommend that would be?
I do most of my stuff through Twitter, bro. I probably do the same thing you do. I'll follow people, and if they follow me back, then I'll get in touch with them through direct message. Bro, I basically do the same thing you do, trying to track people down, trying to nail them down. So I kind of understand. But I mean, if you've done 41 interviews, that's a lot.
Well, actually, I did. The reason I'm going to tell you the story now. I did over 228. You were supposed to be number 229. The reason this is episode 41 is those 6 people said they didn't want their interviews to be shown. So I had a lot of gaps to fill in. So that's why I said, okay, now you're going to be episode 41 instead of 229. And whoever I get next time will be the next number, so I'm filling in the gaps. But I'm actually up to almost 230 already.
Wow, that's great, bro. Good for you, man. And what do? You do everything right there out of your house?
Yes. I edit it. I'm doing everything I can with a learning disability. I'm doing the best I can. I edit it. I promote myself. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn 24/7. I'm doing everything. It's just actually one of the questions I want to ask you off the air, but I'm just going to throw it at you if people are interested. How do you go about getting sponsors, and is that the hardest thing?
How do I go about what?
You're getting like a sponsor or someone to sponsor you.
Oh, that's hard, bro. I don't have any sponsors. That's hard. Bro, it's funny because, podcasting is coming so popular, but people are still really used to advertising through radio.
Right.
So, I don't think advertisers, have really switched over to podcasting yet. I think you're going to start seeing that happen more and more. But no, bro, I don't have any advertisers. I mean, how I earn income is, I have a subscription, to my show. If I have some free shows and some paid shows. If you want to get the paid ones, you got to subscribe to my network. But that's really the extent of how I earn money doing this.
All right. Well, on the subject, how did you create your own show? Number one, and what can you tell us about the network you're part of?
Well, I'm on a network. It's called the Realm Network, RELM Network, and I have an entire channel on the Realm Network, and I put up many, many shows every week. We do, I think, like 30 podcasts a month or something like that, and it's you can go to VinceRussoBrand.com, and that's where you'll find all the shows. Bro, what is your, if you don't mind me asking, I'm curious, what is your learning disability, and have you always, have you had it your entire life? Have you been dealing with it your entire life?
One, absolutely. And it was worse when I was younger. You know, I have ADD, ADHD, a little artistic.
What is AD? What is it? ADHD? You said?
Yeah, there's two of them. It's ADD,
Right.
and the second one's ADHD.
What is that?
Hyper. To be honest, I really don't know the definitions. I just know it's if you have it, it's hard for you to sit still, hard for you to focus on something. You know, you're always up and moving.
So were you diagnosed with this as a child?
Yes.
Wow. So how do you knowing you have this early on, how do you what do you do throughout your life in order to cope with it?
Well, like I'm pretty much like you, like a normal person. Only I learn at a slower pace. I give you a perfect example. If someone gave me like a book, and they expect me to read the whole thing, and then we're gonna do tests on it, it's gonna go up and over my head. But if you take the time to sit down and go over it with me, not like once, but 2, 3, 4 times, it will eventually sink in. But, you know, that's part of my learning disability. It doesn't sink in right away, and that's why people lose their temper with me. Also, I do a lot of stupid things, too. But, you know, for the longest...
Well, it's basically then, I mean, so it's basically what you said, then a lot of it is just like having problems concentrating.
Yes.
Okay, I got you.
No, I used to work in retail, and I had this back then. You know, when I worked over in a store, I had an excuse to... I could use you for a perfect example. You walk into the store, I walk up to you. Hey, welcome to blah, blah, blah. If you need any help, my name is Keith, let me know. But if you go back to high school, and this is 2005, if you go back like a year or so, or 2 years, 2003, I wouldn't have done that because, you know, I have a fear of being rejected, number one, and I just didn't have any self-esteem. Now that I created my talk show, it's like therapy for myself. It helps me with my interacting skills. It helps me with my people skills. It gives me the confidence to walk up to someone and introduce myself. And sometimes I don't know when it's appropriate. I'll give you a perfect example. When I see an opportunity, I'm like Edge. I'm like the ultimate opportunist. If I see an opportunity, I take it, no matter what it is. And we were recently at the New Paltz Fair, and I was thinking to myself, oh, I interviewed you, and actors, actresses, CEOs, whole bunch of 200 different people. And this woman, her and her husband make glass. You know, it's really nice. It's one of those designer glasses, like the big glass circle with the designs in the middle. And I said, hey, I think that's an excellent talent. I would love to have you on my talk show. And I walked away, and my parents are like, we can't take you anywhere. It's like, what? It's like, there's a place and a time for that. And, hey, like I said, I saw an opportunity, I took it, but...
What inspired you to start your own talk show?
He's got to think I'm an ass kisser, but I use my brother for an inspiration.
Your brother?
Yeah.
Is he older than you or younger?
Older.
So does he do this as well?
No, he used to back in college. But he did a whole bunch of other things that it's like, oh, we got on TV and he's just doing this whole other thing. And I said, why can't I do that? And they said to me, yeah, I'm never going to amount to anything. I'm going to be a burden for the rest of my life on whoever's got to take care of me. Oh, you're going to end up in a group home. And one day, I said, fuck it. And that's uncensored. You can curse if you want to. I said, fuck it. Yeah, I'm going to show people that even with a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And I've been using my learning disability as a crutch. Can't go to college, can't go to school. can't drive. Well, my whole family has a learning disability, but my eldest brother's teaser, my other one, what I mentioned, on tour, he does his own thing, and my sister is a poetry writer, and I'm sitting here. They all have learning disabilities one time or another, and they overcame it. Why do I have to sit here and label myself? So I came up with the idea of saying, screw it. I'm going to use my learning disability as a strength instead of a weakness.
So you learned how to do all this on your own?
Yes.
Oh, that's tremendous. Now, how did you do that, though? How did you even know where to start?
Well, when I first started, my dad was assistant principal in a school in the city. What part of the city are you from?
I live in Colorado. I live close to Denver.
I thought you used to be from the Bronx.
Yeah, I grew up on Long Island.
My dad was born and raised on Long Island. What part were you from?
Out east, Farmingville.
Oh yeah, if I remember correctly, my dad was born near I think Strong Street.
Do you know what town that was?
No, but my mom was born in Massapequa.
Oh yeah, I had relatives in Massapequa. I know where that. I know exactly where that is.
So, my dad used to be assistant principal, and he used to do the yearbook videos. And my eldest brother used to help him do the whole editing, the pictures, and the sounds, and music. So I started back in 2000, 2001. I was about 14, 15. And I said, if he can do it, I can do it. And I did. I started with the X-Men. I started with the Spider-Man. I don't know much about this Spider-Man, but I do like the outfit. It's the 2099. It's the futuristic one. And I took that outfit and I put music to it. And 2004, I joined the audio-visual department. And this guy named Mr. Earl, he was a big influence on my life. He says, you have potential. I'm going to take you underneath my wing. Even though I did make his hair, he had the same color hair as you. And if you deal with me for any more couple more minutes, I'll probably turn your head white. But, the nice guy, he taught me how to do the lights and sound. He let me do my own talk show. He taught me how to do video, and that's how I got into this. And my mistake was I should have been taking it seriously back then, but it was high school, and like you said, you want to get out of it, and I don't know, I had my head up my ass.
You live and learn, bro. Look at where you are now. That's all that matters, you know?
That's true.
You know? Well, good, man. So it seems like you have a very, very successful talk show now.
I hope so. You know, people are talking about it. In some ways, it's a good way. In some ways, are bad. I give you a perfect example of how it's bad. I use LinkedIn to network, and you probably think I'm an idiot for doing it this way, but LinkedIn has this contact where you can add your contacts to your phone, and if the person gives out their phone number, you get their number. However, if they only have like an email, you can call them over FaceTime, and that's where I got all my hundreds from. And that's like hit and miss. Some are like, oh yeah, I got your email, thank you for reaching out. Other people say no, it's not going to help my career. Like I told you about the 6 people who, for whatever the reason, it says you're hurting my career, we want nothing to do with you or people like you. And it's just one girl I came across. She asked me how I got her phone number. And I said, I don't have your phone number. If I did, we would be talking on the phone like a normal group of people. Instead, we were doing FaceTime. And she called me a liar. And basically, she was on an airplane with my friend. And they got into a conversation about my talk show. And she just went on a rant about me, saying how horrible I was. And it's kind of like, I always say people are getting to know me, not in a positive way, but
Bro, there's always going to be people like that in your life. You know, that's why you got to go to the positive people, bro. You got to hang around the people that are going to lift you up and make you better. People that are just going to be negative like that and add negativity in your life, you got to stay away from. They're not going to help you grow as a person.
Hey, well, let's turn that direction back at you. How did you find all those positive people, and were your family positive with everything you did when you were first starting out?
Yeah, of course. You know, bro. You know, you have to go to those people that support you and to those people that believe in you and that are going to stand behind you, bro. I mean, those are the people that are going to lift you up. You know what I mean? And as long as those people are the people around you, you know, in your group of friends or your family, you're going to be able to reach potential that even you think you aren't going to be able to reach. But when you have the negative people and all they want to do is pull you down, that just basically stops you from growing and going where you want to go. So, you just got to weed those people out of your life as you go on, you know?
That's true. I'll give you a perfect example. When I first started my talk show, I got a lot of people saying, oh, you're manipulating people, you're stalking people. And after I about get 200, it's like, oh. And then it slowly got around that. So, hey, he's the kid that has to talk. So, yeah, I saw a couple interviews that he did. And then my dad thinks it's a hobby, but I'm really trying everything to turn it from a hobby into something. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I use my brother for my inspiration. I use you for an inspiration. It's like, well, if you guys can do it, maybe you can show me the proper ways to go about it. But, it's like I said, you live only once and everything's a learning experience.
Yep, and just keep doing what you're doing, bro, because at the end of the day, hard work always pays off. There's no easy way. You always have to work hard, but hard work always pays off.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I'm going to ask you 2 hard-hitting questions, and then I'm going to pass it back over to you, then we can wrap up. And the first one is, where do you stand on gun rights?
As far as what?
Well, I'll give you a perfect example. I am for Second Amendments. I am for that. But there should be more of a criminal background. Like, if someone like me, if they have a learning disability, or if they're mentally disturbed, or if they were a felon or a convict, and they killed someone, those people should have their rights taken away from them. Because they're an accident waiting to happen. But if you're a normal, hard-working person and you just want to protect yourself and your family, okay, you have the rights to do that. I say to people, you have the right to kill in self-defense. Only in self-defense if you're in danger, if your loved ones is in danger. But people like to abuse that. Do you think it should be stricter rules, or do you think I have this right, you have that right? Do you think there's too many rights and people are just abusing it?
Well, I'll be honest with you. Like, I try so hard not to get involved in giving my opinions on stuff like that, because no matter what you say, you're going to offend somebody, and they're going to take one thing you say, take it out of context, and the next thing you know, it's all over the place.
You're right.
So that's why, like, topics like that, bro, I just kind of tend to stay away from.
Okay, I understand. Well, wrapping up, is there any funny stories that you pulled over the years on the wrestlers? Any pranks you did?
No, that was really a wrestler thing, bro. The wrestlers like to prank each other over the years. It was fun to kind of just sit back and watch it, but for a writer, to prank a wrestler, I think that would have been a little bit out of line, so I never overstepped my boundaries with the talent like that.
All right. Well, wrapping up, do you have anything you want to say to your fans and listeners?
No, I just want to say, listen, I want them to support you. Give out your address and how they can watch your show and how they could support you. Because, if they support me, I think they should support you because I support you.